for Performing Arts, Eric Omscheid. Eric, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me here today.
Yeah, your first time here.
It is. It is. Not the first time at Jackson. Been here many times, but first time on the show. So thanks for having me here.
Great. Yeah, you've been at the Wharton Center for what now, 3 years?
Just celebrated 2.5. Yeah. So coming up on 3 this summer will be my 3rd anniversary.
Great. Well, happy anniversary. And you took over pretty challenging time, kind of the tail end of the pandemic. Still a strain to get audiences back into the theaters.
Yeah, so I joined summer of 22, so we were already open about a year, a little over a year from our post-pandemic reopening, and it's the tail is long and still continues to be long. We see it in New York City on Broadway. We've seen it across the country at performing arts organizations that we're still recovering. Some audiences that we never kind of recouped after the pandemic. And some folks, just habits changed and they aren't coming to the theater as often.
Yeah.
But we're persevering. We're building a great audience and our numbers keep getting stronger every year.
Well, I think last night during the Oscars telecast, Conan O'Brien addressed the fact that people were just not coming back to the theaters and that he did a spoof on streaming. What if they did it in the building and people could come and watch?
Right.
But that, I think, is not just for Broadway, but it's for live theater and for movies. But it sounds like it's building back.
It is building back. It's slow, but not unlike the film industry, we struggle with getting audiences to come out of their homes, right? Our biggest competition isn't another theater piece or another live concert. It's leaving your house, right? Because there are hundreds and millions of streaming options. And so that shared communal experience is so important to what we do. And I think people who are in the room, if to quote Hamilton, if they're in the room where it happens, right, they really understand it and get it. But that's an important element to make sure that we keep building back and reminding people that it's about this communal experience that we all have together. And that's what makes theater so powerful.
Plus, if you haven't been back to the Wharton in a while, you'll discover they have new seats and new carpeting, and it looks like a brand new theater.
Yeah, we put about $5.25 million in the theater over the last 12 months actually. So we're doing a lot of refreshes to our public spaces, things that just needed to be done, retouched, and it's really looking great.
Looks great, yeah. All right, so today is the day that Wharton announces the 2025-26 season, and I know you're really excited because you see every single one of these shows. You go to New York and you have to see every single thing before you book it.
Absolutely. So I'm there quite a few times a year, probably about 7 or 8 times a year. I am a Tony voter, so I get to see every show as they open in New York. So I can vote for the Tony Awards, which is like the Academy Awards or the Oscars for the film and television industry. This is the awards show for Broadway's industry. And so I get to be one of 2 voters from the state of Michigan, see all the shows, and in that process also start working on curating what will come to Wharton Center. So right now, the shows that we're seeing on Broadway this current season are things that will tour in 2 years from now, so the 26-27 season. So while we are executing on 23, 24, 24, 25, announcing 25, 26, already starting to work ahead on 26, 27. So kind of 3 years all at once.
And it's a big stage, it's a big theater, but it's considered a smaller market for Broadway tours.
Yeah. So the market is smaller, right? We're only a market of a 500,000, depending how you want to count the market size, 500,000 or so in the greater mid-Michigan area. But we're one of the smallest in the country for getting full week Broadway tours. So the size of our theater and our stage is excellent. We're right on the national standard there, but we are a smaller community that supports us in a big way. Without that support, we wouldn't be able to do what we do.
All right, well, let's look at the shows that are going to fill that theater in the next year.
So we have 8 wonderful shows that we are announcing today as part of the 25-26 Broadway series. The image that we're seeing right here is Disney's Beauty and the Beast. This is a part of, it's one of the add-ons actually to our entire season.
Bonus show.
It's one of our bonus shows or our specials to the season. This is Disney's 30th anniversary production. So 30 years ago it premiered on Broadway. And this is a brand new, magical, large, beautiful production of Beauty and the Beast.
And this is the first show. It kicks off the season, right?
It will actually be in October. It'll be the second show. The first show is A Beautiful Noise, which is the Neil Diamond musical, which is this great biopic story of Neil Diamond. So it looks at his life and through his own stories that he tells, and then we flash back in time and we see them come alive on stage as the company reenacts those moments in his life. So this is in September, and this will actually open our season, and this will be the first show as part of the 25-26 season.
So Michael Jackson just completed at the Wharton. It was huge. You had full houses the whole run. And I think one of the reasons it was so successful is the music. Everyone knew the music. Is that the same? Sounds like Neil Diamond's going to be.
You're going to know every song in the show. It's Neil Diamond's favorite hits, right? Everything from Sweet Caroline to all of. It's amazing to me if you'd asked me, a couple of years ago, like name the entire Neil Diamond catalog, I'd be like, I don't know the songs, but you hear every song, you're like, oh, that's Neil Diamond. That's Neil Diamond. That's Neil Diamond, and you understand just the mark he has left on our country and our world.
All right, as we saw last night at the Oscars, The Wizard of Oz, it's hot right now.
It is.
And you're going to have The Wiz come back.
So The Wiz is the brand new revival that was just on Broadway this past year. This is the 50th anniversary since it originally 50th. Since it was on Broadway in 1975, so It's pretty amazing. It won the Tony Award for Best Musical 50 years ago on Broadway, and it's its first revival in 2024. So hot off of Broadway this past year. It's the tour's in rehearsal right now and soon to open, and we have it here in December.
So is it a lot different from 50 years ago when they do a revival? They could change up a lot of things. How about in the case of The Wiz?
Yeah, so they took a careful look in saying how does it translate now, 50 years later? And the good thing is they didn't have to make a lot of changes. It was a really great, strong show then, and they did some minor updates to it, but it is really much the same of 50 years ago.
All right, then the DeLorean is coming back on stage.
88 miles an hour, full-size DeLorean, right on the Wharton Center stage.
Actual full-size real DeLorean.
An actual full-size real DeLorean.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, real is, let's spend some theater magic here. Like, is it really real, or is it being it's on stage, it's a prop? But it is a full-size car that looks and functions just like a real vehicle. So this is, of course, in Back to the Future, the musical, in January. This was a huge spectacle. All the things from the movie you want on stage, including the music and the little iconic moments from the films, all happen on stage.
So you got to go back in time. I'm amazed at how the staging is done. There's so much special effects and so much, these video walls, they're amazing how that is such a big part of Broadway sets these days.
It's amazing. Hearing the creatives talk about when they created this show specifically, they used a lot of gaming technology to sync up the car with the visuals that you see on stage. So what you're seeing happening on stage and what you see as you move around is actually gaming technology, so you can feel it and see it as an audience member, almost observing it. But if they're inside the car, it's like you're inside the video game.
Yeah, it's so much, I'm watching the show and I'm thinking, how do they do that? There was one scene in the Michael Jackson show. He jumps he launches out of a platform and then he lands on it.
Yeah.
It's like, how I still can't figure that out.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's magic.
It's magic.
It's theater.
Yes. All right, then after Back to the Future, the musical, what's next?
Then after that, we have, I believe we're queued up to talk about Hadestown, which is another special that we have as part of the season. So this takes two Greek mythology shows and mashes them together. And this is one of the first shows that we opened with post-pandemic. So we're happy to bring it back because a lot of people weren't quite ready to see it when it was here last time. Won the Tony Award for Best Musical in 2019. Still running on Broadway today. Really
awesome.
Beautiful production.
All right, so if you missed it when it came back a couple years ago, it's coming back just for you. Then back to the
Kimberly Akimbo. Back to the shows that are in the package, that part of this 6-show season package. Kimberly Akimbo is another Tony Award for Best Musical from 2023. So if you're keeping score at home, that's 3 Best Musical Tony Award winning shows. Kimberly Akimbo is the third in our trifecta and the most recent. So it won Best Musical in 2023, story about a 16-year-old girl moves to a small town, new town, and is part of a dysfunctional family and has a rare medical condition. So it's her world come to life in this kind of challenging environment. So she's 16 and all the challenges that come up with a teenager.
Is this one that you voted for when it was your turn to?
I can't talk about
it.
Oh. Not that I can't talk about it. Actually, that's a nuance. That was the 2023 Tony Awards. 2024 was my first year as a Tony voter.
Okay.
So full disclosure, I was not a voter that year.
But you might have voted for it.
I probably would have voted for it.
Have.
It's a beautiful, beautiful musical. Yeah.
All right. And then this one I had not heard of. And it sounds like a board game. It sounds like a movie. Clue. Yeah, who done it? It's a murder mystery. So 19 Colonel Mustard and all that?
In the library with the revolver, all of those things. Mrs. White, Mrs. Peacock, yes, all of those characters come to life in this play. It's actually a play versus a musical, and it's a comedy. It's a hilarious whodunit. It's a quick 90-minute play that goes through the body manner as you would suspect from the movie or the board game.
So that's
and then we have one last one. Oh, sorry.
Oh, one more. It's a bit of a departure because it's not a straight play, but it's a comedy, but no music, right?
Correct. I would put it in the straight play category in the sense that it is a play. It's not a musical. There's no orchestra pit. There is no orchestra, so to speak, and it is really funny. Departure in the sense that most plays that we've had recently have been more serious dramas, and this is a comedy. But it's fun.
All right, and then to wrap it up, one of the oldest stories of all time. I think it's Shakespeare.
Yeah, Romeo and Juliet. But this is a totally different twist. So the story starts as Romeo and Juliet ends, and instead of Juliet taking her own life,
oh, spoiler alert,
she writes her own story. Okay. So
this starts if that had continued.
Correct.
And she hadn't.
Yeah. And it's a fun, upbeat telling, kind of claiming your own story, being true to who you are. The music is all a pop score. So Max Martin wrote all of the music, who is Katy Perry's Roar to Oops, I Did It Again from Britney Spears to Adam Lambert to Kelly Clarkson are all woven into this musical.
So is the category, is it jukebox musical?
Categorically, yes. Yep. So it all exists. It is a jukebox musical. In this case, written by one specific artist who is Max Martin.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's really great. So 6 shows in the package plus 2 additional. It's really thrilling to have so much great support from the community to be able to bring these great, amazing Broadway shows to the Wharton Center and to the East Lansing community.
Oh yeah, I think we're blessed that we have these Broadway shows just 30 minutes away.
Yeah.
And with the announcement of the new season, are tickets available?
Tickets are available right now. If you go to whartonseason.com, you can subscribe to all shows in that 6-show package. Those who have been with us in the past can renew their same seats as well. Those are available right now today. You can add on Beauty and the Beast and Hadestown if you buy your package now. And then shows will go on sale kind of show by show over the summertime.
So of these shows, which one are you most excited about?
Oh, I can't choose a favorite. Honestly, it's really hard. I could tell you. One of my roles is to curate the season with our partners in New York, and it's hard because they all fill a really important role in the season, and artistically they're really dynamic. So it's really a hard question for me to answer.
All of them.
Yeah, all of them. I will. Okay, so it's a little bit of a cop-out, but I'll probably say Beauty and the Beast because it was the very first show I ever saw in high school, nearly 30 years ago, when it was originally on Broadway.
So I was reading your bio. You had an experience seeing a show that directed you you wanted to get into theater.
Yeah.
Was that the show?
No, it wasn't this show. No, it wasn't that show. It was almost the same time, though. Okay. That was Showboat, I saw in Minneapolis.
Showboat.
Starring Cloris Leachman. And then this happened a couple of years later. It was the first show that I saw on Broadway in New York City was Beauty and the Beast. So they're really close to each other in time frame.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Visit Wharton Center or call 1-800-WHARTON and get your tickets. Awesome. Sounds like a great lineup.
Thank you so very much.
Yeah.
Tons of information and videos all online, and there's so much good stuff happening in our community. So thanks for having me on today.
Great to have you here. Thanks for coming down.
Thank you.
Executive Director of the Wharton Center for Performing Arts, Eric Omscheid. Stay with us